Hey guys, Suffers here. It's been a while, but I'm back now. Anyways, let's get on with the Feixiao guide. Feixiao, the lacking general, is a Wind Hunt character focused on follow-up attacks and ultimate damage. Let's start with her talent, which is the core of her entire kit. She is able to gain Flying Aureus points from ally attacks, including herself, obtaining 1 point for every 2 attacks. She requires 6 points to activate her ultimate, similar to Acheron, and she caps out at 12 points, meaning she is capable of firing off 2 ultimates in succession. Do note, she gains half a point from basic attacks, damaging skills, damaging ultimates, and follow-up attacks. Her talent also has a follow-up attack that triggers when any of her teammates attack, but she is only able to launch it once per her turn. This follow-up then grants her a chunky 60% damage buff. Thus, her talent benefits from teammates that either attack frequently via follow-up attacks or having a bunch of multiple actions, or supports that grant her action advance. Her third trace gives her 3 points to start with, and should she not fire off her follow-up previously from a teammate's action, she'll gain a free point. This allows her to get up her ultimate faster at the start and stack it up much better with more passive supports. Her basic attack is the generic basic attack, so you're free to ignore this outside of SP management. Meanwhile, her skill is more significant, dealing solid single target wind damage as well as immediately launching her follow-up attack, basically granting her 1 Flying Aureus per skill cast. In tandem with her first trace, her skill also gives a 48% attack buff, which, while seemingly underwhelming, is actually a powerful trace due to Feixiao lacking any attack multipliers and her attack stat being on the lower end for a hunt character. And now for the bread and butter of her kit, the ultimate. Upon reaching 6 points of Flying Aureus, Feixiao launches a 6-hit ultimate that has colorless toughness damage and a 100% increased weakness breaking efficiency. Each hit either deals more damage to unbroken or broken enemies respectively, and ends on a final hit of wind damage. Her ultimate contributes 75% of her overall DPS, so focusing on funneling buffs onto her ultimate turns is crucial in her team's playstyle. Her technique is simultaneously cool and goofy, granting her a movement speed increase and a tornado aura that sucks in enemies. Attacking the sucked-in enemies will engage combat with all of them, dealing a guaranteed crit wind damage that increases for every enemy that was vacuumed, up to a 1000% multiplier. This also grants her 1 free Flying Aureus point. Overall, quite okay as a technique for endgame content, but extremely busted for overworld and SU, especially the barrel breaking and trotter hunting mini-game. Now let's quickly go over her Eidolons. E1 grants Feixiao an additional damage buff to her ultimate for each hit, adding up to 50% of its original damage. A decent Eidolon, but not worth the pickup, and more so to bridge into her E2. Speaking of, E2 makes any follow-up from allies grant her 1 Flying Aureus point, drastically speeding up her ultimate generation, allowing her to fire it off more frequently, improving her DPS massively. E4 increases her follow-up's toughness damage and grants her a minor 8% speed buff. Overall, quite mid in terms of value, but at this point you might as well go all the way. And finally provides E6 Feixiao a 20% resistance penetration to her ultimate damage, buffing her follow-up's damage multiplier by 140%, reaching 250%, and it is also treated as ultimate damage, allowing it to receive various buffs to ultimate damage. This E6 is overbloated with powerful effects and, like most E6 units, can demolish anything with ease. Moving on to her light cone options, her best in slot will obviously be her signature, granting 15% crit rate and a massive 54% defense ignore on her ultimate damage. This can potentially be even more powerful should we get a follow-up character that can apply defense down or defense ignore. For alternatives, Dr. Ratio's signature is a very close second, providing up to 44% crit damage, a 35% damage buff and a 24% defense ignore for her follow-up attacks. This pairs up extremely well with Topaz and Aventurin, who can apply a steady stream of debuffs. Topaz's signature is also great, providing 18% crit rate and a 24% follow-up damage vulnerability. While the effects are all great, you would much rather leave this on Topaz than giving it to Feixiao. Seal's signature also works wonderfully, providing free crit rate and crit damage for her ultimate provided Feixiao is fast enough, which is quite easy to achieve thanks to her extremely high base speed. For a solid free-to-play option, cruising in the Stellar Sea is a perfectly fine option if you're unable to nab her signature. For 4-star options, Swordplay remains the best hunt. 4-star like Cone, free damage by simply hammering the same target over and over. And for a true budget option, Final Victor provides attack to help with her low base attack and some crit damage, which can be easily maxed out since her ultimate has 7 hits. Now let's talk about her relics. Wind Soaring Valorous was basically made for Feixiao. Granting attack, crit rate and buffs ultimate damage after using a follow-up attack which simply activates by casting her ultimate, do it counting as a follow-up attack. If you are unable to grab good Valorous pieces, Duke or Pioneer are solid alternatives. Duke can easily reach 7 stacks from a single cast of her ultimate. Not quite max stacks but still pretty good. Meanwhile, Pioneer pairs well with Topaz and Aventurin, allowing you to export over your Dr. Ratio or Acheron pieces. For my Zero Cyclers out there, Feixiao is the best wearer of 4-piece Eagle, able to capitalize on every effect it provides. Allowing the use of action advancers, dance abusers and other Eagle wearers. Reducing the overall premium cost associated with her best-in-slot team. If your pieces are still something to be desired, a 2-piece combination of Duke, Pioneer and Eagle will work out fine. For planers, Duran is a correct set for any follow-up team, but Salsato and Izumo are great substitutes if they have better stats. Bonwhack can be used if you're aiming to zero cycle thanks to its action advance and can allow the use of attack boots in tandem with 4-piece Eagle and other sources of action advance. But always remember, stats over sets, aim for good stats before chasing set bonuses. Speaking of which, Feixiao wants a crit body, speed boots, wind or attack damage orb and an attack rope. In my opinion, it's better to have a higher crit rate, as close to 100% as possible, since she gets a ton of crit damage sources, reaching up to 145% from her best-in-slot team. But a 1-to-2 crit ratio can never go wrong. Speed boots are preferred to hit the 134 speed threshold, but attack boots can increase her overall DPS provided you have to speed subs to go for it or you are running Bonwhack. Wind damage versus attack orb depends if you're using Robin with Feixiao, with wind damage edging out attack orb slightly with Robin, but otherwise the difference between the two are minuscule. Let's move on to the most important part, her team options. Feixiao's best-in-slot is the Rat follow-up core of Robin, Aventurin and Topaz, creating the almighty fart team. All 4 of them synergize extremely well together, with Feixiao and Aventurin feeding Numby's action advance, while Topaz and Aventurin help to turbocharge Feixiao's ultimate while also providing powerful debuffs. And Robin being the all-powerful support for the team, granting 100% team-wide action advance and a ton of buffs to boot. For a budget option for this team, Topaz can be subbed out for Hunt March 7th or Moze, as they all perform similarly to Topaz, albeit not as consistent, providing less follow-ups for less ultimate charge. No Robin? No problem, having any 2 of Topaz, Moze and or Hunt March work well, and is extremely fun having the entire team firing back-to-back follow-ups. For the true budget option, Bronya, Pella and Gallagher also perform very well. With Bronya being the ultimate action advance manipulator with her skill, Dance and 4-piece Eagle with Bonwhack. Pella and Gallagher have fast charging ultimates, which equates to the former providing additional defense down, which combos extremely nicely if you have Feixiao's signature and she is able to run 4-piece Eagle as well. And the latter gets another action for even more ultimate charging. A more powerful, zero-cycle version of this team replaces Pella with Robin, and thus, you are able to run the powerful combo of Quid Pro Quo Gallagher with Robin. Let's talk about how to play her, as her playstyle may seem simple but has a few intricacies, especially if you're aiming to clear quickly. Don't be afraid to go beyond 6 stacks, holding more points allows her to have one-shot potential, especially against the next wave or phase of the fight. Holding her ultimate also means she is able to maximize on the buffs and debuffs provided by her teammates. Also do understand action value and AV manipulation, especially when running Eagle sets and Dance, but I won't go more into it, otherwise I would start yapping. Now let's talk about vertical investment. E1 or S1? The answer lies in what you would prefer. If you prefer ease of building, her S1 provides free crit value and a powerful defense ignore, meanwhile her E1 provides a prettier damage screenshot to show off to your friends and strangers online. But personally, I prefer her S1 as crit rate means more consistency in battle over having a bigger number that overkills most of the content anyway. If you plan to go for E1, you might as well go for E2, with a caveat that it does pigeonhole her more into follow-up teams. Hope you found this guide useful. If you have any other questions, do ask in the comments. I am always down to help out. I'll now be moving on to a quick showcase of Feixiao. And before you leave, don't forget to like and subscribe. Now, enjoy the showcase.
運試しと行こう。
コンセプト
でかいのがいるわね。
危険なリズムね。ユニゾンが響く。
気をつけて。ベッド。恐れずひるまず弱い。
評価を始めるね。行ってカブ。今宵星々の反響。地上が長期間見据えるのが成功の秘訣。
サイは投げられ全てを失うか、はたまた手に入れるか。買いだ。遊んであげるよ。全て狩り尽くす。上昇腐敗やっ。大将は定まった。爪も牙もに迷いはない。弱い。気をつけて。すべて狩り尽くす。上昇腐敗やっ。大将は定まった。買いだ。サイは投げられ全てを失うか、はたまた手に入れるか。気をつけて。サクッと手合わせしてみない。恐れずひるまず遅い。
行ってカブ。全てが共鳴する。
よそ見はダメ。買いだ。
今宵星々の反響。
ベッド。爪も牙も鈍ったの。すべて狩り尽く。上昇腐敗やっ。大将は定まった。迷いはない。弱い。遅い。すべて上昇腐敗やっ。大将は定まった。